Author of the book UFO of God, Chris Bledsoe, posted a new video on his Instagram of a UFO, an orb specifically. Now, this is something that Chris Bledsoe is known for. If you're not familiar who he is, I am going to dive into that here in just a moment. But basically, yeah, he has this ability to summon, if you will, orbs. And he posted this video that a lot of people are talking about. So I'm going to show that video along with a few other video examples of orbs and stuff that he has summoned. And then I'm also going to show a clip from the Danny Jones podcast to give you a little more context about who Chris Bledsoe is. All right, let's dive in, y'all. If you're new to the channel and you like content like this, please hit that subscribe button. I put out a new video every day, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I do not miss a day. And please hit that like button, vetters. That really helps out the videos. So thank y'all so much for the support there. And of course, comment down below. What do you think of this new video from Chris Bledsoe? Let's go. All right, so first thing we're going to do, I'm going to read you just a little bit about his bio that comes just on his Amazon from his book and stuff, right? Chris is a UFO experiencer and a strong believer in God. His life, now that his children are grown, is centered around telling his story and understanding his experience and why it's increasing. He is passionate about keeping an open mind and engaging those who question the reality of UFOs. Most importantly, he's working to understand the consciousness connection with UFOs and how it impacts his faith. What is our place in the universe? And like most of us, he is driven by the age-old question, are we alone? Chris lives in North Carolina with his wife, Yvonne, and their 2 dogs. Now, Chris also has a couple of sons that also are into this. He has a daughter. I don't know. He might have more kids and family. I'm not sure. Anyway, he's sort of connected with Tim Taylor. I've covered that. Tim Taylor is in Chris Bledsoe's book. He's also featured in Diana Pasulka's book, known as Tyler in that book. And it's quite interesting. Chris Bledsoe's story is quite interesting. He is considered the most investigated man by the U.S. government, like as far as, I don't know what you want to call it, paranormal, experiences. And he's been told on many occasions he's very special, that these beings communicate with him and parts of our government don't know why, and they want to know, specifically the CIA. So I'll take that as you will. Right, and here's a good old picture of Chris right here. Really sweet guy. I really do want to interview him. A lot of people look up to him, like him, respect his story, sort of connect with it, relate to it, right? And this is his book, okay? It's going to be made into a movie. UFO of God, The Extraordinary True Story of Chris Bledsoe, a spiritual journey of missing time, clouds of fire, healings, and transformation. Chris Bledsoe, soon to be a motion picture, right? And at the top, you've got a nice quote, powerful and compelling, Jim Simivan, former CIA senior intelligence officer. Yeah, so there's all kinds of crazy stories with Chris and his family and how the CIA, he hasn't been too happy, Chris Bledsoe, of how he got treated and, potentially tore his family apart. Not in, I don't know. There's just a lot going on there, right, with people. Tim Taylor, the way that he interacted with his family and took him around and said things to him, and I don't know. I'm still following that story, and I would love to get Chris on and talk about that more, his relationship with Tim Taylor, and what that meant to him and how it changed his life for the good and the bad. But look, regardless of how you feel about Chris, he is, a lot of people, can relate to him and his stories, right? So again, however you feel about it. And one of the things that he does is he says he has this ability to summon orbs, bring them to him, right? And so what he'll do is he'll post them on his Instagram, right? He'll post some of this stuff on his Instagram. So what we're going to do is take a look at, this is one right here, all right? The most recent one he just put. I'll restart it so we can watch from the beginning. I wasn't putting way over there. No. Is that better? There we go. Let me try that again, y'all. There we go. That's the beginning. So see, sort of zooming in on this thing that's this orb. Right? Let's see if there's any sound.
Is it bright?
Oh, there is. Okay, hang on. Let me start that over.
Right. That ain't even zoomed. It's in the cloud or going through the cloud. It's to the east of me. Man, is it bright.
Something just flew behind it. You see that?
I gotta get my camera down. I had it at a weird angle. There's the power line. Top of the pond. There's the orb. Thank you for that. If I had my new camera, I could really have something beautiful here. Of course, I'm thrilled to get this. It's heading east. Maybe a tiny bit northeast. That pole there is almost due east for me.
Oh, it's gone.
There's a beautiful orb right there tonight. That ain't even zoomed. It's in the cloud or going
I'm going to watch it again.
through the cloud.
Watch, you'll see something fly by it.
It's to the east of me. Man, is it bright.
Right there. It just flew by. I mean, that is weird looking. I
I gotta get my camera down. I had it at a weird angle. There's the power line. Top of the pond. There's the orb. Thank you for that. If I had my new camera, I could really have something beautiful here. Of course, I'm thrilled to get this. It's heading east. Maybe a tiny bit northeast. That pole there is almost due east for me.
It looked like it went into the clouds? I can't tell.
There's a beautiful orb right there tonight. That ain't even zoomed.
What do y'all think? What do y'all think of that? It's interesting, to say the least. It moved a little weird when he, jerked the camera. It had a weird movement there, I'm not going to lie. But I don't know. He's saying he's going to get this new HD advanced camera that he'll be able to use. Well, it just says highly advanced camera. So whatever that means, right? Higher definition, I would imagine. Honestly, setting up a zoom, right? Some sort of way that he can zoom in on it and get high def video of it, of what this is. Right. So I don't know. Let's look at other ones he's posted.
Now see it stopped. There's the one on the right.
Is it going to get any darker than this?
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty crazy right there. Wow, that was a huge white one there.
Forward.
There's one way offshore just blinked. I mean,
step forward now.
Crazy.
Yeah, I see it. You can see it with the
I'm telling you, these are orbs coming out of the water. Wow. Emily,
Yeah.
stand up. Watch. Put it right on there. Hold it still. Keep it on there.
Definitely weird. Looks like there's another shore back there.
I see one.
There's 3. Keep watching. There are 3 of them.
There's one.
They keep popping in the
Flash
same
really
spot,
bright
kind of.
and zip about. These things were jumping all over in the camera. They'd jump left and right.
It's going to the side. Oh.
There's something up there, I think.
You keep watching. It's liable to come up out of the water and hover above it and get there dead. I tell you, 8:30. After that point is when it would start.
It's moving to the right.
That's weird, but
See
there is a
the one
shore
on the
over
right?
there.
Yeah.
2 of them. You flash back and forth.
Different colors. What's the point of flashing? I don't understand what's going on.
You see them completely stop, and then there's one way off just flat. Then a really bright one.
See red one
I mean,
Oh, there's
that was.
2
Everybody
right
see how
there.
bright
Yeah,
that
there's
goes?
2.
I tell you, wait till you see the video.
I'm getting 2 at one time.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very cool.
The video she's
Oh
doing
yeah,
right
one
now
moving
is
across the
is
sky.
crazy.
We're moving across the sky right now.
Yeah. We have one coming at us. See it coming off the ocean up? Right here, look.
Right here, it's moving
Getting
towards us
brighter,
here. It's
brighter,
getting brighter.
Watch it,
Look
y'all.
at it.
Everybody watch.
It's coming. It's
right
so
up here.
bright.
Look.
Look at it. It's
Thank you.
beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Hallelujah.
Thank you.
That's what we're looking for.
Thank you.
Now, if you would, come off the ocean. That's one of these balls of light. I guarantee you shot up and come this way. Look, straight up, straight up. You got another one going left.
Wow.
See it right
It's
up
a Big
here?
Dipper.
It's moving that
It's
way,
moving
north.
for sure, though. Weird.
That's
It's
why I put
disappearing.
my
It's going away, it looks
Well, I
like.
don't know why I did that.
The higher one is going away.
I can still see it in this.
So, I want you to stop that recording and restart it.
Okay.
It's getting too long. Let me stop it.
Oh, you want to record straight ahead?
Now see it stop. There, the one on the right.
So what? I think they filmed another of the same. Right, the same night. Hang on.
There now, there 3 of them. There's one further offshore. Look how rapid they've gotten. You see that?
That's crazy.
I'm telling you what it is. Now twice, 3. See them 3?
On the water.
Look how they're moving about now. You see that, Chester?
Yes, sir. I got it.
They're getting closer. They are.
Yeah, I see it.
Above us.
It's getting brighter.
Yep. Above us where.
And they're coming closer.
The ones on the water are coming closer. They'll come in and out. They'll spread apart. They'll line up.
Oh, look at that.
Look, wow, that was incredible what I'm seeing there. Man.
I mean,
One
what
of them
is
was
going
bright
on?
white then.
This is a pretty big one. Right
Got
there.
one straight above us.
Yeah. I see it right there.
Yep.
Oh man, that thing
Wow.
looked like it shot to the left a little.
Wow, that was a huge flash.
On the water?
Yeah, did you see it? Look how huge.
Yeah, I'm watching the orb.
Watch them, Chester.
Come on in the closer, guys.
Now don't got the flash.
Yeah, every now and then it'll flash you very bright. There now, there 3 of them. There's one further offshore. Look.
All right, so we've seen that. Let's take a look at. Hang on a second. Of Chris Bledsoe on, again, the Danny Jones podcast. Okay. But what did y'all think of those orb videos? Right? I guess I just don't understand the orb thing. Like, I guess I just don't get as excited about it. Right? It's just like, it's a light. I don't know. What am I going to do with that? I don't know. I just don't get that excited about orbs. You know, they're on a shore, right? Staring out across the shore. You definitely see a lot of lights on the water. One, it's reflective, right? Boats, different things that are out there. You know, restaurant, right? Whatever buildings are over there on the other side. Depending on the camera you use, you can pick up some and not other. I mean, but, you know, are these orbs that Chris Bledsoe is summoning coming from, I don't know, another dimension? He says they're coming out of the water, so maybe they live in the water. I don't know. What's the point of flashing? Like, what's the point of showing yourself as an orb to this being, right, for no reason? Like, what does it do? Like, you know what I mean? They would have to know we'd be confused by it. So what's the point? Doesn't prove their existence, right? Because if they wanted to prove who or what they were as these orbs, if they were beings or something, in my opinion, they would go about a different way to prove it to you. And why can Chris summon them? Right? What is the point of summoning them, right? You know, he is a Christian. I'm not sure how far into that he still is, but I believe so. And God talks a lot about he never needs to prove himself, right? And at least biblically. So I just don't see the point. I just don't know what's going on. Right? What does it do? But it is, dude, some of the videos are weird and fascinating, right? Because they're weird. It's like, okay, what is that? What is going on? That thing is moving weird. It is a bright orb right there, right? Like, so not going to lie. It's kind of strange, right? Again, your skeptical mind wants to try to figure it out, right? Your mind is like calculating, what is that? It must be something you know already. And, you know, I don't think we can say. So maybe Chris Bledsoe is right, and he can do these things, right? Summon these beings, these orbs. I mean, he's got some crazy-ass stories, man. Chris Bledsoe has some crazy-ass stories that I've heard him talk about. They're very fantastical. They're really hard to just take at face value. Again, I'm not saying they're not true. I have no idea. But it's a lot to take in. It's quite a leap of faith, if you will. No pun intended there. But they are fascinating. And he's great to listen to, right? He's got that southern drawl, really brings you in, very comforting. And he's telling you these stories, right? And look, I think a lot of people that listen to him go, yeah, that's happened to me. So that immediately makes it relatable, right? And I get it. If you're having a certain experience and then you hear of someone else having the same experience, one, that's going to make you think, okay, I'm not crazy. There's something to what I'm experiencing. And I get that comfort. I totally understand it. And I'm glad people find that comfort, to be honest with you. The only thing that worries me about Chris Bledsoe is his claim to be able to heal people. I'm not a fan of that. Not going to lie. People should get real medical help. You know, I'm not saying modern medicine is perfect. By no means is it perfect. But it's your best chance. Now, if you want to do some other stuff on the side, well, of course. And at the end of the day, it's your life. You do whatever you want. But if it was someone close to me, I would be pushing everything I could to make sure they included modern medicine in their care. Right? Because, I don't know. It just becomes interesting. Right? When you start making those claims that you can heal people. right? Because then people are going to ask you to heal them, and when you don't, what are they going to say to you? Right? Why didn't you heal me, or my mother, or my this, or my that? You know, I mean, he claims he can heal like cancer and stuff. I mean, it's I don't know. That just worries me. Not gonna lie. Just saying. Just being truthful there. That worries me. Not a fan of that. But look, let's take a look at this clip. Kind of give you some more context about other things that Chris Bledsoe believes, other claims he's made. Right, just more context about him. And he did this great interview on Danny Jones' podcast. I highly recommend checking it out. But here's a clip. Again, links in the description. Let's watch this.
Lady by the name of, she's a research scientist for the government, and her home base is Wake Forest University. I was introduced to her by somebody.
So Wake Forest University, research scientist, this lady, that's who he's talking about.
And then I've called her back. Long story short, she says, Chris, I'm researching the paranormal. Me and my assistant, Ashley, she said, we're researching the paranormal. And I just got to tell you, she said, I've been on Pilot Mountain in North Carolina. She lived from Winston-Salem. Works at Wake Forest right there in Winston-Salem, right? So she said, I was on Pilot Mountain, or Mount Pilot, like the Andy Griffith show, Mount Pilot, right? She has a cabin near there, her home place from way back. And she said that she and Ashley would hike up on Pilot Mountain and sit under the stars and turn on this voice box. They call it a spirit box. I'd never heard of such. But it's a little device about like the size of a cell phone that has this awful noise that comes out of it. It sounds like
static.
Static, yeah, white noise. But it's ticking, tick, 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 like so. And what it's doing is scanning millions of frequencies. And these investigators believe that, and I know now, that disembodied spirits or voices can come through that thing. So she said she was on Pilot Mountain, and she would ask it questions, and it kept saying, Chris, UFO, Chris, UFO. And it said it over and over several days. She would hear the same thing, Chris, UFO. Even said Hope Mills, which is where we live. So she gets on the phone with MUFON and finds out who is Chris in the UFO. Well, they gave her my number right away. So she comes to the house, and we're out at the burning tree. First we did about an hour and a half interview in my study, and she had all her equipment running. And then we went, and not to get ahead of myself, but while they did the hour and a half study inside, they got like 60 or 70 voice communications, audible, that was recorded on a recorder, just coming out of thin air. So we go out to the tree, and we do this investigation, and I'm just holding this box in one hand, spirit box, with a cord hooked to a digital recorder. So this is recording what this is saying, and you can hear this thing. So she talks me into standing at the burning tree while my wife, her assistant, Pam and Ashley, my wife, and Stephanie, my niece. There were 4 ladies standing, 10 feet from me looking at me. I'm leaning against that burning tree, and I'm holding this thing. And we start asking questions. Crazy thing, this thing started talking, and it would answer my question. It would say my name, and 4 or 5 voices would come through it. They recorded 350 audio clips, and she said, I've never seen anything like it. She said if I went to the Charleston jail to do a ghost hunt, she could take 6 of these recorders and let them run for hours, each one, and they might get one voice out of, 40 hours of recording, where we got over 350 recorded clips. But one thing it said, Chris, the Pope is in danger. Help him. You must help the Pope. It was saying this. We got it on recording. And she even made a PowerPoint with this, with all these clips. You can listen to them.
Are they online?
No.
Okay.
I've got them.
Okay.
But with all this happening, I knew that the Pope was going to Philadelphia. He was already had been into Washington and was making his trip to New York City, and he was going to go to Philadelphia.
Was this Pope Francis?
I think it was Francis, right? When they were going, he was going to make a speech at the Congress, of the original Congress Hall in Philadelphia. So I call a friend that called me last night, the guy you asked me about who it was that called. I said, I called this guy. I said, hey, Larry, you won't believe this. I said, this lady has, and I'm talking to him right after all this investigation. I said, this thing keeps saying that the Pope's in trouble. He's coming to Philadelphia. He said, you must help him. It was saying this, you can hear it. You must help him. So immediately my friend says, well, maybe you should come to Philadelphia and let's see what we can do about it. So a couple, 3 days later, I'm in Philadelphia, and when I walk in his house, there stands John Alexander. First time I ever met him. And that's when we started remote viewing the whole Pope, first chapter of this book. And they actually arrested a guy for trying to blow him up. I even told him he was going to use a bomb. I saw where the boat ramp beside Ben Franklin Bridge. I drew it all out, and they verified it. And so they got Secret Service involved. And then John calls Joe McMoneagle, and Joe says the same exact thing that I say. And so from that point, they shut down Philadelphia. They closed every access into it and made people walk from the Jersey side across the Ben Franklin Bridge. You had to walk in. You couldn't drive. And they arrested a guy for that. So that's how I met John, and it was a real thing, what happened there. And that got the attention of a lot of people.
Did you ever speak with the Pope?
I never have personally. I had messages relayed to me from the Vatican through Diana and my friend from NASA, Tim Taylor. And he sent me pictures of orbs and of St. Francis with these orbs appearing. And he had these hands were zapped. And at that time, I couldn't use my hands. I could barely button my pants. I had to get my kids to button my pants.
So that's interesting. All right, Chris Bledsoe saved the Pope. Sounds like from an assassination attempt, and potentially John Alexander and Joe McConnell. They remote viewed, so Chris Bledsoe can remote view as well now. That's interesting, right? They got Secret Service involved. Who got Secret Service involved? I mean, what were they saying? Would they not have been investigated? Like, how did you know this information? Right? Oh, you remote viewed it. Oh, okay. I mean, that's not how that's going to work. I'm sorry. So there has to be more to that story. Or in both ways. Either stuff he's leaving out that's like, oh, okay, that's what happened. Or, even more crazy, right? Like, it did happen, right? The way he's saying. I don't know. I mean, I think something happened, right? But that story seems a little odd, right? I don't remember hearing about that. In fact, it's just live right now. I'm going to do this. Hang on. Let's see. Pope. Should have done this before, shouldn't I have? Delphia. Says 2015, maybe. September 26 and 27, 2015. It does says there was a bomb threat. Interesting. Okay, here we go. Well, there's two. In September 15, 2015, here, it says, in April 4, 2017, a New Jersey man has been convicted of plotting an attack on Pope Francis during his visit to Philadelphia in 2015. Oh, okay. So he pleaded guilty 2 years later, but yeah, okay, so here's the story. Hang on. All right, here we go. Teen arrested for ISIS-inspired threat against Pope Francis during U.S. trip. A 15-year-old New Jersey boy allegedly had a detailed plan including multiple assailants, firearms, and explosives. A teenager living outside of Philadelphia who had threatened to carry out an ISIS-inspired attack on Pope Francis during his upcoming visit to the U.S. was arrested by the FBI last month. The 15-year-old New Jersey boy allegedly had a detailed plan, including multiple assailants, firearms, and explosives that he threatened to execute during the Pope's visit, which begins in Washington, D.C. on September 22nd and concludes in Philadelphia on September 27th. He will also visit New York City. The boy was communicating with people overseas and looking at ISIS material online, but didn't have access to the funds or resources to carry out his plot, a source with knowledge of the case told NBC News. Authorities considered not charging the teen because of his age and possible compromised mental state, but because the threat involved the Pope, they decided to move forward with charges. ABC News first reported the threat, detailing an intelligence bulletin by the FBI and Department of Homeland Security that the minor was inspired by ISIS. The FBI's Philadelphia office declined to comment on any specific threat to the Pope, but spokeswoman Carrie Adamowski said in a statement that the FBI is working closely with the United States Secret Service and our federal, state, and local partners in advance of the papal visit to ensure the safety and security of all. Interesting. So, I don't know. Is this what they're talking about? Right, this is all I'm finding. Right, that this teen was going to do it. Right. Look, that's all it says. Plotted to assassinate Pope Francis during Philly. It sounds like they got to him before. Right? So, I don't know, y'all. So this guy had been planning it for a while, talking to ISIS, whatever. So this is what Chris found out. This is what he remote viewed. I don't know. But he's kind of claiming to have saved the Pope by remote viewing him. And, I mean, that's quite a claim, y'all. I'm not saying it's not true, but I would definitely ask Chris more details about that. Look, Chris is a fascinating person, bottom line. He is a fascinating person. And his story is fascinating. The way he tells it is fascinating. He's not hurting anybody. The only thing I would really question him is his claim to heal people, especially I hope he's not suggesting to people, hey, don't go get modern medicine help. Get my help. Pay me. Don't pay them. That would be not good. But if he's like, yeah, okay, you're getting treatment for cancer at the local hospital. Well, hey, you want to try this too as well? I mean, sure. And at the end of the day, it's his life. He does whatever he wants. But I'm just saying that would probably turn off a lot of people. So I hope that's not what's happening. But other than that, look, he claims to summon orbs. He's had some interesting stories with this like floating woman and this bull, and I mean, a lot. And his relationship with Tim Taylor, y'all, is crazy. Okay, I've covered that. It's insane. And Diana Pasolka, right? It's this weird back end world, right? And Grant Cameron being involved, right? With Chris as well. I think they're good friends, or at least they were at one point. Chris Bledsoe is kind of connected to just a lot of experiencers, right? I think there's this whole group of just people who have these experiences. I would imagine Chris also gets downloads, as it's called, just like Tim Taylor and other people claim to get, right? Where they basically meditate and then information from somewhere else is downloaded into them, right? Now they know new information you didn't know before. Right? I mean, just like you see in The Matrix, right, where they teaching Neo how to learn kung fu and all of that, right? Essentially the same thing, except it's wireless, right? Wireless download. They have Wi-Fi. Okay, these other dimensions have Wi-Fi. The best Wi-Fi you've ever heard, right? We'll call it Di-Fi, dimension fidelity, right? So I don't know, y'all. Again, he's very interesting and fascinating, and there are a lot of things that are unexplained surrounding him, truly unexplained. You know, that do leave this mysterious aura around him. And again, he seems like a really sweet person with his family, and I know him and his family have been through a lot too, which I'm not a fan of. The way the CIA and other intelligence agencies, in my opinion, have taken advantage of him and just kind of welcomed themselves into their family and, you know, follow him around and just be in weird places. And there they are. Like, you know, I mean, imagine that. You got all this happening at your house, and now the town's looking at you weird, and everyone's whispering behind your back. And, you know, Chris Bledsoe's story is fascinating. It really is. Dude's been through a lot, so, you know. But again, I hope he's not healing people and telling them not to get, you know, modern medicine help. But the orbs, you know, again, I'll put links in the description. Go check out all of his videos. The Danny Jones podcast, he's done others. But that's a really good one. So, all right, y'all. We'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Remember, what do I always say? Say it with me. Are we ready? Every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.